As part of What She Said's continued partnership with New Roots Herbal, we're going to take a closer look at magnesium today. Dr. Katie DeGroot is an Alberta registered naturopathic doctor who also holds a Master of Science in Nutrition. She offers nutritionally focused care for any and all health conditions and has a special interest in digestive issues and supportive mental health care. Dr. Katie is joining me now to explain just how critical magnesium is to our health. Welcome to What She Said, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
So, magnesium is essential for over 300 reactions in the body. That blows my mind. So, tell me
Yeah,
what some of these are.
sure. It's anything and everything. We need magnesium to help produce DNA, to produce proteins, to break down, to digest carbohydrates, to help make strong, healthy bones, to build and use and utilize brain chemicals that keep our brains happy and healthy. Magnesium affects pain perception and inflammation and honestly everything. If you think of those 300 chemical reactions, that's a lot. It influences a lot. That sounds so simple, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I had no idea that it had such an effect on our body. Now,
Yeah.
my daughter had a chronic back injury from cheerleading, and I remember they and in combination with the medication they were giving her, they encouraged her to take magnesium to help with inflammation, to help with the pain. And I've also had magnesium recommended to me for sleep. So would those be sort of the two most common reasons to ensure we're getting enough magnesium?
Um, Honestly, there's there's a lot. I'm
Yeah.
sorry for saying that again. There's a lot. Definitely pain and muscle cramps. Magnesium acts as a muscle relaxant, so it helps with pain and especially muscular pain. But it can also help with headaches, or inversely, headaches or migraine headaches can be associated with low magnesium. We see magnesium being suggested or used in conditions such as like anxiety, depression, diabetes, trouble with weight gain, weight loss. It's it plays a role in a lot. Um, yeah,
So when we are seeking magnesium outside
yeah.
of, say, a supplement, where do we get magnesium from? What foods are rich in
Sure.
it?
So mostly plant-based products. The green of plants or vegetables, that's where the magnesium is. The magnesium is effectively making the plants green. So anything that's green and leafy, foods that are high in fiber, as well as nuts and seeds and legumes, so like beans and peas. Those are the top magnesium foods.
So as soon as you said greens, I immediately thought, yeah, most of us are not getting enough of that.
Absolutely. I think it's like 50% of the North American population is estimated to not get enough magnesium from food, and maybe 30%, 35% are actually deficient.
Okay, so that means that half of us are walking
Yeah,
around with 300 some odd things depending
yeah,
on
yeah,
magnesium, and we're not getting enough. So how
yep.
much should we be getting every day?
It depends on your age and gender. Generally speaking, for males over the age of 14, recommended between 400 and 420 milligrams per day from food, ideally. And for women or for females over the age of 14, it's between 310 and 360 milligrams. But Health Canada has these really great nutritional tables, which lay out by age, gender, and life stage. So pregnancy, lactation, postmenopausal, what the recommendations are based upon age and gender.
So if somebody was walking around and they are not getting enough magnesium, what are some of the symptoms and signs that they might have that might tip them off to the
Yeah,
fact that they're not getting enough?
that's a really good question. It's it's very non-specific. There, unless somebody's like acutely deficient in magnesium, that would show up in a pretty severe situation. But relatively low magnesium levels, subclinical. We would see anything from like increased asthma, increased headaches, PMS, increased anxiety, increased low mood, depression, increased inflammation, increased sensitivity to pain, increased risk of obesity, diabetes. There's a lot of chronic health conditions that are associated with low magnesium that are really common right now. So your question of how do we know if somebody's low in magnesium? Honestly, it's really hard to say without looking at, say, the diet. There's no good test. And it could be any health condition really that's associated with low magnesium. There's a lot.
So I think you just answered my next question, because I know that we
Yeah.
can get blood work done, for example, to find out if we're
Yeah.
deficient in vitamin D, but there is no such test for magnesium.
There's not a good one. There's not a good reliable test for low levels of magnesium. Magnesium, like I said, like it's clinically like low, low, low. That's going to show up on blood work, serum magnesium, red blood cell magnesium. That'll pick up like severe, maybe 5-10% of the population, just rough guessing there. But for that 30 to 50% ballpark where people aren't quite getting enough for optimal health, but not enough to be clinically ill, we don't have a good test. The best guess, the best suggestion is honestly to look at what you're eating and run a daily intake food through a nutritional processor, like a nutritional program, to estimate if you're getting enough magnesium from your food. And the answer is probably not. At least statistically, probably not.
I would say, looking at my diet, I am telling you right now, I mean, I try to eat healthy, but I know for a fact that I probably don't get enough greens in my diet.
And it's a lot.
So if I want to, make sure I'm getting enough magnesium and I supplement, is there a point where you have too much, and would you notice those signs?
Yeah, so that's a slightly complicated question if I can take a minute to unpack that. So magnesium is a mineral. You can't just take magnesium itself. It has to be bound to something. And so what you take that it is bound to, that form of magnesium, that is what has side effects. So for example, magnesium oxide, that's a very common form of magnesium. Taking too much of that, it acts as a spectacular laxative. Magnesium citrate, a little bit more mild. Too much of that, you would, again, spectacular laxative. Different types of magnesium would tend to be digestive upset. If you're taking too much, yeah, it's going to be mostly digestive upset. The target for magnesium through supplementation is about 350 per day. That's what the general recommendations are. So I would say stick to that number and base it upon your age and gender targets. And don't take too much. Like follow bottle dosing is honestly the best way of making sure you're not getting too much.
Yeah, I think, we tend to hear things like this, about, make sure you're getting enough magnesium and vitamin D, but there's always people who seem to want to take it to the next level.
Yes.
Right. And you can get too much of a good thing. So it's important to recognize that you want to, like you said, follow the bottle dosing on this one. But it's probably safe to assume, like you said, 50% of the people are not getting enough magnesium. So you share all of this information regularly on social media and on your website. Can you share where people can find you and follow along?
Yeah, so my website is drkatiedegroot.ca. My social media, I just have Facebook, which is Dr. Katie DeGroot, naturopathic doctor. And I have a practice, an office in Lethbridge, Alberta, and I can work with anyone virtually or in person in the province of Alberta.
Amazing. And New Roots Herbal products are found at health food stores across Canada. They are the sponsor of this ongoing segment to inform people about all of these great supplements that are out there in case you need them. So they always have great stuff on their site as well. That's newrootsherbal.com. So I encourage people to go check them out. And Katie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
I had no idea. So, and I've got to tell you, I'm going to use spectacular laxative going forward because that just cracks me up.
Well, it's the most polite way to put it that I can think of. Like, just follow what the bottle says. Don't take too much.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Take care.